has begun.
This is the part where we stop talking, right?
So I don't tell people my social security number at this point?
No, this is
I
the
don't
point
recommend it.
where you would want to do that.
Okay.
Just let it all out.
And my credit card numbers, I'll get those out too.
So
Yeah.
Socia 623.
Make sure you include the CCV number. It's becoming more important.
875.
117.
Good.
Niner Alpha 2.
You know, I'm gonna say be careful, cause
that's probably someone's.
yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're gonna land on someone's, and they're gonna be like, "This weird show just gave it out for some reason."
Okay.
Did my webcam go away?
Yes, it did.
You're
gone. All it is a static picture of you.
He's freaking gone.
He's freaking gone.
There we go.
Get out of here, ghost. He's freaking gone.
Okay.
Bye, new Doug.
We're just gonna. This is the episode where we just quote Thor Ragnarok. So,
Hey, you're back. Oh,
oh,
no, you're gone.
You're gone.
Okay, now am I back?
No.
Well, you
Well,
were,
you
and
were
then you
for a
were
second.
gone again.
Okay.
Huh.
Yep.
Interesting.
Back, gone. Back, gone. It's on. It's off. It's on. It's off.
Because it shows up under audio video settings that I'm here.
Nope. We just got the static image right now.
Yeah. On the bottom, is your Skype thing X'd out for the turn-off video?
No.
Oh,
Nope,
wait, now
you're
you're back.
back.
You're back. Whatever you did. Oh,
Nope.
now you're gone.
It's gone again. And you're back.
Now you're back.
Okay, I won't.
Oh,
Nope,
now
you're gone.
What's going on with
This
that? I have
would
everything
sound like
closed.
we were messing with him, except we're totally not. This is literally how it's going.
Because it shows up under Skype audio video settings.
Yeah. Are you hitting
Yeah,
cancel to back out or okay?
No, I'm on a Mac, so I just pressed there.
Oh, no,
You're
okay, you're
back.
back. So whatever you're doing,
Nope.
now you're gone.
It's gone.
Nothing. I'm not pressing anything.
What the heck?
Should I leave the call and come back in?
You can
Yeah, let's
try
do
that. Yeah.
Okay, bye. I hung up on him.
I mean, that's
call.
one way to force the issue.
Yeah, now I'm going to call him back.
Oh, okay. That's nice of you.
Well, yeah, I think so.
Oh man, come on, chat. Let's not turn this into a Mac versus PC thing.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
We like
Okay.
all computers.
Everyone knows that mac and cheese is awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
All right.
Okay. but
Nope. Gone.
This is weird because you were stable before and then all of a sudden you just disappeared. And he's gone.
He's gone. It's all gone.
Huh. Okay. Well, welcome to the Azeroth Roundtable Troubleshooting Hour. We take calls, we answer questions, and we fix all of your computer issues.
Today,
yeah, I
on,
didn't press anything.
today on the line with us, Frazley, who's having a webcam issue. We're going to go ahead and work through that with him today. Frazley, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, welcome.
Okay.
So right now...
If you're using Skype, I suggest going to the tools section, then options.
Yes. Well, and under audio video, because it's showing.
Oh, that's weird because I have an audio setting and a video setting separate on my PC.
Let's see. Does this one show?
It's loading something. Yep.
Oh,
Nope,
and
nope,
then you
now it's
disappeared
gone.
again.
Yeah, because when I go to audio video settings, I see the webcam here.
Hey, John, as a backup, why don't you find a GIF?
An animated GIF.
Yes, one that would be animated to show movement.
Ah.
Yes.
That's quite a treasure you have in that animated GIF. What I will do... actually, no, because then that would mess that up. Okay.
Oh, Wicked Kitten, don't talk about Brundlefly. Ew.
You know, it's
Kind of
the
like
hair.
I kind of like
the
that
hair.
movie, but ew.
That
Oh
is
wait,
so
no.
weird. Yeah, it's because I've got nothing open. Chrome's the only thing that's open, and Chrome's on Twitch chat.
It's really weird.
I'm calling this one New Overlay 3-Person Tech Issues.
Okay, cool. All
I
right,
can
well,
see
you know
it
what?
at least.
Let's forget about the video and jump right into this. How does that sound?
Absolutely.
Well, hold on, because I still got to edit this, so buy me time.
All right. Hey, John.
That means your camera's all messed up too now, Ben. So hold on,
okay.
I'm working on it.
And so this is the part where I shouldn't move around.
Yes.
Because then that could just screw you up.
I would appreciate it if you would not just goof. Don't be don't be goofing, Ben.
I'll try not to goof.
Ben, you always goofing.
I'm always goofing. Yeah. That's okay.
Why are you I don't know why are you the penguin now?
Because I'm goofing. That's what the penguin does. It goofs with penguins. Oh, that sounds dirty. Never mind.
Okay, so there's that. And now.
Well, you know what? Or I'll talk about our trip to Chipotle today. So
yes. Sure.
John and I went to Chipotle.
Uh-huh.
And so we walk inside, and then turns out that the line wrapped around the entire inside of the store. So then we got at the end of it, and we're waiting in line, and then someone near the front gives a big old wave to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh! And then I realized that it's my coworker that sits right next to me, which was weird because I usually only see her at work. And then we kept talking about D&D stuff as one does, and then the person behind us, who was a Chipotle employee, who I guess was just off her shift, was standing there and then started chatting with us about D&D for a bit. So after what felt like 40 minutes, we were at the front of the line. Then I ordered. Then John ordered after me. And then as I was getting up to pay, beat up and bruised Laura Croft was standing right there waiting for a call-in order.
This sounds like such a fake story.
I know. And I said, hey, nice makeup job. And then I said, that is makeup, right? Because if you're beaten and bruised, we'll get you help. And she assured me that it was makeup. And then I said, that's a very good cosplay of Laura Croft. She said, thank you. And then the lady who checked me out didn't know if I said mild salsa or medium salsa. And was very confused about that. I have the cameras
ready so you can maybe leave the exciting, riveting details of mild and medium salsa out of the story.
And then John and I left and hurried home as fast as we could. Yeah. So 3 very interesting things happened at the Chipotle tonight.
Nice.
Yeah, that was the adventure.
My only exciting thing at Chipotle was when Lost was going on, and I put one. I named one of the characters, and the person named the other one Smoke Monster. I was like, yes, they got it.
That's a good way to do it.
I like Svensson's story. My friend got salmonella from there.
It's so like dramatic.
It's maybe not as exciting as running into Laura Croft, but it's up there. It's pretty good. Okay.
Oh, you know what would be the worst? So she looked all beaten and bruised and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if she got salmonella on top of that.
Oh no!
Oh, that'd be the worst.
The end of Laura's adventure. It ended with salmonella.
Surprise! You have diarrhea.
Oh, I bet she did though, because she went through a lot, and she probably had to drink some not good water, and
Probably.
You got to get used to the water in the places you visit.
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
I used to get sick going to Tennessee.
She wasn't pulling out some Aquafinas during that adventure.
Yeah, she just found them in the river.
River Aquafinas.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Frazley, are you ready?
Absolutely. I was born ready. I came out screaming. I really did. Out of my mom's womb. I was literally screaming when
I came out peeing on the doctor. In case anybody wants to know, that is a true story. First act in life was to pee on a doctor.
That's how you're going to go, too.
My life hasn't changed much. Personality defined right away.
Same.
Now, the big question is, was he your pediatric doctor, all your life?
For a long time.
So you really did mark him as your own.
Yeah.
You're in this together.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's you
John,
and me, Doc.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Right.
Ready to go, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, as in start the show, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Welcome to Azeroth Roundtable, episode 258. It is Friday night. I'm here, and I'm excited. And I'm also Ben Bumhofer. I just realized I didn't say my name. With me this week as always, is John Jagger. How's it going, John?
Hello, Ben. As you said, it is Friday night, and I am happy to be joining you here at the round table. It is an excitingly round table with a fine finish. It's made of purple heartwood, which I just learned was a thing. It's a naturally
that's
purple
fancy.
wood. I don't know if you knew that. There's
Well,
a little...
seeing as how your favorite color is purple, I'm not surprised that it's purple heartwood.
Naturally, I needed to figure this out. Anyway, it's not just you and me talking about purple heartwood today, Ben.
No, it's not.
Joining us is Frazley. What's your favorite kind of wood?
John, this is not the Wood Whisperer.
I just want to know. Look.
I love mahogany, but is Friday night and the lights are low, looking out for a place to go, but they play the right music, getting in the swing, you come to look for a king. And that's me.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
That's not a wood, but it's fine.
Since you didn't ask me,
mahogany.
Cherry. Cherry for me.
Cherry's good. Cherry's cherry.
So anyways, this is a show that is not about wood.
Well, it started about wood.
I'm of course after some recent data mining from the alpha, I'm not going to ever double down again on the idea that woodworking needs to be a profession. So with that being said, no more wood talk. Let's talk about some World of Warcraft.
Ben, all I'm saying is that there's no lagging balls tonight, and we have to pick up some of the slack. They did send their audience here, which is very kind of them.
Final Fantasy 14 had a great woodworking profession, I have to admit. You built chairs for... I don't think 11... I never played 11 as much.
Yeah, because 11 didn't have the guild house and stuff. I know that 14 does. They also have some pretty good farming, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and they don't have Nomi, so when you farm the stuff, your food's not burnt.
Yeah, but some people like Cajun.
I like the idea that the woodworking trade skill is just like, I made this nice cedar box for you. What use is it in the game?
I gave one of my crushes a wood box that we bought on a Mexican a trip to Mexico, and I never heard back from them.
They got what they needed. That was your relationship was defined at that point. That's all we wanted.
And John, to answer your question, Final Fantasy 14, if you get a nice wooden box, you get a +5 to nice things. It's a good stat to have.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we've all defined our favorite woods. We're off to a good start.
It is very good.
Cherry mahogany and purple heartwood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Plus, if you smoke with cherry wood, you get some good sweet flavor on your meat too.
That's good to know.
So something weird happened in guild chat earlier this week. And I mean, it reminded me of something that happened in game that was prevalent in game for quite a while. It was actually kind of interesting. And it was a feature that I completely forgot about. And that was, well, first of all, we were talking about like inventory, bag space, quivers, things like that. And then my mind immediately just, for some reason, jumped to the key ring.
Oh.
John, do you remember the key ring?
You
Frazley,
said it.
Obviously you do.
Yeah.
You said it, and I was like, wow, I've gone back in time.
Well, when was the keyring added? Because I remember it was rumored about being added when I was here. Because I remember our bags were full of keys. I'm trying to remember if we got the keyring when I was there, or was that Burning Crusade and Wrath?
It was probably sometime in Burning Crusade, because I was playing when it was there. And I think I remember John telling me that, oh yeah, you used to have to carry keys in your bags.
Oh, absolutely. Kids these days don't understand what it was like.
It was a heck of a time. Sometimes, look, in the history of video games, we are defined by the simplest inventions that would have made our lives much easier. Doom 3, duct tape, all that world needed to be a better game.
Was that just the mod, or did they actually implement the duct tape with the flashlight?
They did eventually during re-releases.
Okay, that's great.
But it was a mod. And then later, World of Warcraft, some brilliant Azerothian inventor, I want to imagine like some gnome or goblin that was like, Eureka! And was like, what if this little ring of metal, tink, 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 you put your keys on it?
You know, it was totally like from the Hudsucker proxy where he just had the piece of paper and drew a circle on it and said, look, this is going to revolutionize everything.
For kids. I love
exactly. That movie. It's a good one.
84 floors, not counting the mezzanine.
Man, it's been forever since I've seen that. But then also he came up with the other idea. And John, you know what he did? He had a piece of paper, drew a circle on it, lifted it up, and it was also for kids. Are you muted or just ignoring me?
No, I don't get it.
Okay. Yeah, he invented the hula hoop and then the frisbee.
Oh.
So the design is just a circle, yeah. It's a lot better if it, no one's seen that movie though.
What movie is it?
The Hudsucker Proxy?
Great movie.
Oh.
Stop what you're doing right now and go watch that movie. It is great.
We'll wait.
Great way to spend your... Yeah, we'll wait here.
All right, guys. Hold on. Peace. We'll be back. I got to go do a thing.
Okay, anyways. So the idea of the keyring is kind of weird at this point because, you know, we obviously don't need keys anymore. We don't go through entire huge quest lines. And John, I just saw the video catch up. Thank you for doing that. Anyways, so like it was a solution to a problem that we had that no longer exists. But kind of at the same time, I kind of miss having a key ring with all those like different keys.
Why?
Like,
you
different
didn't
dungeons.
even notice that you had it.
No, I knew I had it back then. I forgot it was gone because we haven't needed it since like Wrath. I think that's when they got rid of it. Maybe it was Cataclysm. I don't know.
Chat says it was 4.2 is when they got rid of it.
Well, and you know, if we do that, why don't we also, when we pick up these different items for quest items, let's put them in our inventory. That way we know that they're there as well.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them that not being there. And this isn't going to be a discussion about like back in my day or even close to like the classic WoW servers. No, we beat those to death. But it's one of those little tiny things that I don't know. I guess it's marked differently now. But to me, it was kind of like like I guess achievements kind of do that now. You know, you go through, you beat a dungeon. Oh, I have an achievement. Okay, cool. I thought it'd be just kind of something nifty to, you know, still have a little key ring, then have like a key to that dungeon or something just to kind of show it off. But it'd only be for you. And I realized that this is incredibly stupid and there's absolutely nothing to come with this.
I could see that on your character screen. It'd be cool to see what you've attuned to or what keys. I could see a little tab on the character screen. That actually would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, you know, just adding more flavor and stuff like that. And like, I'm not even saying we need to do attunement quests anymore because I still don't like those. But I don't know. Just the concept of something just so small as the key ring just kind of flooded me with, oh, this would be kind of a neat little thing and stuff. And like, it was just such a minor fix to something that was like a major problem. And then they just completely got rid of it anyway. I know. Yeah. I'm just totally like going way out on a limb here. And
okay.
Again,
I'm gonna take your thing. I'm
okay.
gonna try and figure out what part of it I like because I don't think I like most of it. But I will tell you, it was really cool back in the day. There was that side entrance to Stratholme.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that felt cool to be like, hey guys, we can go in the side entrance because look, I got a key, or I can pick this lock. I had the same thing
with Nomergon. I loved having the side door to the workshop in Nomergon.
So I think that while I don't ever really need a button that I click and go, yeah, fucking keys, man.
Fair point.
Like that's
fair point.
That's look at them. Keys for days. I do think that there is something neat to the concept of I have access to something that changes up the dynamic of something that's expected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, Okay, so Haster mentioned the side entrance to Karazhan, which technically doesn't count because you didn't get a key for it. You have to unlock it from the inside. But what would be cool with that, or to kind of liken it to it, is the Nightbane quest line. Going
Yeah.
through, getting the stuff, being able to actually summon them and everything like that. It's like, little tiny extras and stuff that gave us reasons to kind of go back. Whereas, right now it seems like we're really fueled with, oh, well, just raise the mythic level and go back and get better gear just over and over again. Or we're going to have this crafting quest to force you into the dungeon or something like that. But, go ahead.
It's why I liked the recent mount that they had, the Endless Halls maze, the Lucid Nightmare. I loved that because you were going to different places. You went to a Val'sharah house, and this simple house had a puzzle in there. And then we went to Pandaria, and this simple tomb had a maze inside of it. That was cool. I'm with you on that. Just like secrets and things that change it around.
Yeah, I love the idea of it. I love the idea of people being able to bring unique experiences and unique things to the game. Because I think we've talked about it before. One of the things that sometimes feels a little bit like a weakness that WoW has is that as they streamline things, it usually is for the betterment of the game. In fact, WoW has kind of been built on the idea of streamlining a lot of the clunky stuff that MMOs had back in the day and making it more fun as a result. Like, that's Blizzard's modus operandi. But sometimes you can do that to a point where all of a sudden everybody has universally the same experience. And sure, you can get down to the nitty gritty and say, okay, well, we had different experiences because X, Y, Z. But generally, like, for the most part, we're having the same experience. And when you get something where someone can open a door that other people can't, or here's a thing that's different for some people versus others, all of a sudden you make that experience a little bit more dynamic. When we run a dungeon, sure, things can go weird. You can have a weird pull, somebody can do something stupid or dumb, but assuming you have a nice, clean run of a dungeon, you've had the same experience as everybody else who's had a nice, clean run of that dungeon. That's why I really liked that dungeon where they let you apply your trade skills or your class skills or, changed it up based on the dynamics of who was in your group, because now suddenly you have a unique experience tailored to the people that you were with at the time. And that will be a different experience the next time you run that dungeon.
Okay, Final Fantasy XIV, to bring it back in again, has a really cool concept called the Deep Dungeon. And it's an ever-changing dungeon. And every time you go in, it's a different layout, different things happen. So your party never knows how it goes, and you progress by different areas. And that's a cool concept.
And that's actually something that I've always wondered about. We look at mythics as a way to extend the life of dungeons. And we say, oh, look, we can add these modifiers and we can make it more challenging. But one thing I've never understood is why we necessarily felt like the dungeon has to be the same dungeon every time you go in. And I feel like Legion dipped its toe in the water of changing it up a little bit with, sometimes there are world quest objectives that have you go somewhere else, which would cause maybe some different monsters to appear. But they could even follow that to another extent and say there are different bosses that could show up. There are different encounters that could happen. There are different mechanics that could come into play based on random factors, and make the dungeon a bit more dynamic and thus make it a little more interesting to run. Now, it gets trickier when you start saying, okay, well, running dungeons and Mythic Dungeons is now an esport. If you're going to scale up the difficulty of the dungeons, people might not like the randomness of it. And so it gets a little tricky there, but I know in a world where you queue up for a dungeon and you're pretty sure you're going to make it through. I don't know a lot of people that are like, boy, I sure hope we make it through this heroic today.
Oh yeah, every single time. I just pop in, I'm like, oh God, please let me make it through.
So
And there have
You
been
never know.
some of the runs in dungeons when I'm leveling, I almost am on autopilot and I just go through.
yeah.
Yeah. And okay, so Frazley, I was totally gonna bring this up, and I see you said it in chat. So like, Violet holds different bosses. Kind of is the like total like easiest way to kind of implement this thing. John, like you said, how you kind of have like a random assortment of things that could possibly happen. Let me take that kind of mixed in with what you said earlier about like side entrances and stuff like that, and let's look at it as like a choose your own adventure style dungeon.
Ooh.
So like we go in and John, let's say you're on your rogue, I'm on my monk, Frazley, you're on mage, right?
Warrior.
Warrior, sorry. Every time I think gnome, I always immediately go to mage no matter what.
To be
I
fair,
play
you
no
go to
mages.
mage no matter what, no matter
That's
what.
pretty true too. And then we have a priest and I don't know a hunter with us. I almost said ranger because again D&D mentality.
Mhm.
So we go in and like first off, like let's say there's some sort of like priestly thing that we can do to open up a door or heck, I don't know. And so far, everything I have in my head is open up a door where John, as a rogue, can pick a lock and open up another door. But
a door, you say.
like a mage or something can like cast frost and like clear a path of fire. And if you go that way, it's a different experience. And like you can kind of zigzag your way through based on the classes that you have. But no matter what, you always have like another type of option or choice on where you want to go based on what you have with you. So like, starting room, you'd say there's 5 different directions to go because you have 5 different classes in there. Or if you run in with all druids, you just can only go one way the entire way because the druid thing to do is, I don't know, make plants grow to lift you up and head down a different hallway or something.
Oh, and I like what Alessandra was saying is, what if you could bypass things using locks?
Oh, yeah.
Like
That'd
the
be kinda
trash that we jump over hills to try to avoid anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like that's the thing. I think that's a really good point. People already do really stupid crap in this game to avoid pulling like 1 pack of extra trash. It's like, guys, we can skip these 2 monsters if we just climb this tree and run across this branch and jump to another branch, and then if we go down and hug this wall, we don't have to fight those 2 guys.
And then
Great.
when you're falling down in that one dungeon, I always fall down and hit the cliff and die. I had to be res.
It's like, we could have just fought those things. And look, that is not me saying we should have more trash, because I do not believe that. But that does make trash the logical thing to be like, you go in a place, there's a bunch of corrupted enemies, but you have a priest with you, and they can bless it. And all of a sudden, all that trash is now blessed, and it's not evil anymore, and it's not hostile. And hey, we get
And they're
to skip
thanking
that.
you and giving you money as you walk past because that's how you still get loot.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, rip, here are my pants. Go, adventure forth.
Thanks for blessing me. Here's 3 gold.
Now I'm just picturing like a sexy night elf just giving you your pants.
Just, oh, you blessed us, thanks.
And then dance music starts playing for no apparent reason.
Just like, I don't know what to do. Okay, thanks. I'm gonna sell these to a vendor because I have mighty pants. But yeah, thank you.
They're for my family. We had these for centuries. It's like that mailroom quest.
I don't want
Disenchant.
pants that people have had for centuries. My pants don't last a year. I don't want pants that have been around for a century.
I still wear clothes for my preteens, but that's a whole different.
Oh,
story.
man.
I want that problem.
Yeah, but John, I've seen your Urkel shirt. You don't want to wear that anymore.
Hey, if I could fit in it, I would wear it in a heartbeat. But no, I mean, I think that makes sense, and that's a cool way to implement and say, hey, here's a cool way to show off your class and make people, even though it's just a weird little psychological thing, like, it makes you feel happy to have that person with you. And in a game where we want to encourage social interaction with strangers, like, sometimes just having them seem like a badass and like they're contributing something cool to the team is all it really takes. And if somebody could go in there and be like, oh, we got to go around this whole canyon, but the shaman just goes, no, and just like Moses parts the water and you walk across, you're like, that guy's cool. I like that guy.
That would actually work well into what they're trying to do and make it where you want to bring different classes. You want each class to feel unique. Because I was actually listening to a podcast about Classic, and I'm going back to Classic for a second. They kind of said classes in there had slightly unique things. There are different things like that, but they said warriors never go solo. But it'd be cool in dungeons if your shaman could do something, your druid could bless the trees or make things sprout out of nowhere, like just a forest instantly appear there or something. It would just be cool to have different classes. The Death Knights bring things up from the dead to help you.
So, okay, I know that in the past I might not have been the biggest proponent for, trade skills.
Uh-oh.
And I'm still in that same mindset. But given this discussion, I've thought of two things already that could be kind of cool that trade skills could like play into something like this. Like imagine if you're an engineer and you can like create some sort of weird tinker thing that you send into mobs and then they distract them so everybody can just walk right past because they're looking at like a little robot dude or something. Or imagine if a tailor is able to like create disguises so that you can just walk right past trash or something like that.
Yeah. Invisible pants. You can't see my pants.
Yep. And people are like, oh, I don't want to mess with just an upper torso. You don't even know what to expect.
And then they rip off their pants to give to you because they think you're lacking. Of course.
But I mean, it doesn't, it's like you were saying, it doesn't even necessarily always have to be trash either. It could just be as simple as, here's a spot where the Death Knight goes in and goes, oh, many people have fallen here. And it's just a little right click or a little button prompt that appears for Death Knights. And they put their hands on the ground and undead sprout up and will help you with the next fight. And you get that benefit because the Death Knight's there. And again, these are all things that they could make random. They could be a part of the dungeon. Maybe you get it, maybe you don't. And have it feel like a cool, dynamic, unique moment when you're going through that I think would be really exciting. I would be stoked every time something like that came up. I would be really, really happy. But another thing that kind of popped into my head as we were talking about this is I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was Upper Blackrock Spire. There's that whole arena fight where you kind of just jump in and you have this arena moment. And I'm talking about something from a long time ago. I understand.
I remember.
I think I've never actually finished old Ubers just because the time I did have a group, we were about 4 or 5 hours in, and I had to wake up in like 3 hours to go to work.
So
I've done that fight a few times back in vanilla.
And I think what was so fun for me when I think back about that time is back when it was new and it was challenging and it was hard and it was like, oh, I don't know if we're going to get through this. Was you came up with really odd mechanics. It was like, okay, well, the warrior is going to stand here and hold this. And it gave people a chance to shine on your team. And I think that there could be some really cool moments where all of a sudden, I wouldn't hate a moment in a dungeon where maybe somebody goes and does a fight on behalf of the party. Mm-hmm. And it's not everybody's just around spamming their abilities, but like, oh, the tank got in, he's got to tank this fight, and then manages to get somebody free, and then they get to join the fight. They kind of talked about that back in Lich King for, what is it? The one where you go crazy and you have to fight shadow versions of your teammates.
Oh, Anka-Het?
Yes, I think that's right. And that sounded so cool. It was like you're doing a boss fight, and then all of a sudden, each of you has to solo the rest of your party, but whoever does it fastest can now help the remainder of the people. And it ended up kind of, in practice, not being quite as cool as it sounded when it was explained.
That's because you had a druid healer with you, and they just healed through everything, and you couldn't ever beat them.
Until the whole party was there, and then you were like, oh, okay, I guess we managed this finally. But they could put moments like that where the group could have these unique, like, shining moments. Like, let people feel heroic in the game. Like, I think that'd be fun. I think that would make dungeons more interesting to me, at the very least.
Okay, I'm gonna make up an interesting idea as well, just because we're kind of. This is all reminding me of like D&D and Dungeon Masters and stuff like that. City of Heroes had a really cool idea. They had a thing where you could create your own missions. You could design missions with different things. Would probably be very hard to do with the lore in WoW, but it would be kind of cool to do things. Or what if you have a bard and you're remembering how this fight happened for your team? So your team's going through this fight, like, and all of a sudden, out of this wall disappears. I mean, just
That'd be something kind of cool.
Yeah.
because over in Final Fantasy 14 again, I played that when I was trying to stay away from WoW. In Final Fantasy 14, they had a epic version of this one fight, and it was the same fight, but it was this bard telling this one story that this dungeon you've defeated with like massive explosions everywhere. I mean, like this bard was telling up the same thing. And you're like, I remember this fight when we did it. It was nothing when we first did it, but it's amazing now. It was a same fight done differently.
So it's kind of like the day that Deathwing died or something, that quest line, right? Where they each have a different version of how they actually defeated Deathwing and everything, and it's like this huge, grandiose, gigantic thing.
Yeah, and it's just it's different, and you're seeing the fight again. And you're like, oh, I don't remember this. But it's the bard retelling it.
I think if they also, if they did go a route where everything's randomized to some degree, or there are random elements within it, they could also do a thing where you could say like, hey, stamp a bounty on your dungeon run, and
Yeah,
there could be like a bounty board where it's like, here's what our group got for this version of the dungeon. Do you want to queue up with your party and see if you can beat it? And you have to go in and complete their version of the dungeon and see how you do in comparison. And maybe that changes the rewards or enhances the rewards if you can beat it, or, who knows? It seems like a lot of cool new ground could be mined here, is what I'm saying, I guess.
That could potentially work with, kind of changing up mythic dungeon runs as well, because depending on whatever attunements you get and everything, it makes it harder or easier, of same level compared to what other groups might be running based on what they have too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you have like more, I don't know, the bridge fell out when we were on it in this run, but in a different one, it wasn't. And, we had to fight down below and get back up out of the moat or something like that. And, just different random elements like that could make for really interesting challenges. I mean, it's going to be probably a nightmare for the development team, but we're not developers, so we can talk about and make fun of or make up and have fun with a lot of stuff.
That's right.
Well, and I'm reminded of like racing games where you would race along and you would see the ghost of the opponent that you're trying to beat. Was that a Burnout or something? But they did that. You could follow and you would try to beat it. And it'd be kind of cool if you could see the ghost of another party as you're going along, and you see them fighting a ghost boss next to your boss, and you're like, oh, they just defeated it. We got to go faster.
That could be kind of cool, and especially if they're people and especially if one of them died at some point, so you can send them a tell, be like, haha, I saw you die. See them sitting around, like, drinking up, healing up and everything while someone's getting rest. Meanwhile, you're just running past. Suckers.
That would be super fun. And to me, like, every time I think about this stuff, the thing that I just keep coming back to is, people probably would say, John, you want too much weird randomness and too much D&D put into World of Warcraft. And that's probably true. But the reality is like, the one place I don't feel like it belongs is raiding. Like, to me, raiding is that thing that should be the challenge. It should be kind of a set thing. You can go in with expectations, and it's about executing on that thing. Like, I feel like that's the appropriate place for that kind of content. But once you get outside of that, I feel like that's your place to now have your fun. Like, don't have everything be the same. Don't have every quest line and everybody's questing experience necessarily be exactly the same. Don't let everybody's dungeon be exactly the same. Like, you can get out and branch out and do crazy different things, and I think that makes for stronger experiences when we can talk about the game, and it's not just us saying, oh yeah, I did that too.
Yeah, that's why I like both Minecraft, because I love Minecraft getting a whole different world each time, I would tell my friend, and I would go and co-op with a friend, and we'd be like, "Whoa, look at this cave! We'd find this cave somewhere." And that's why I'm loving the island idea they're bringing to Battle for Azeroth, and I'm hoping to expand that further because it is pretty cool to go to this island and see a whole different set of mobs here doing different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea of every time you go there, it's something entirely different. So you actually have stories to tell. I mean, do you remember forever ago when Destiny 1 was still kind of either new or before it was even out? Like one of the big promotional things was, oh, it's gonna be great. You're gonna get all this loot. It's gonna be cool. You're gonna go around and see people and like, oh, look at that gun that guy has, and he has a story about how he got it and everything.
Yeah,
I think the storytelling aspect of MMOs and multiplayer games and everything like that is one of the most fun things to do. I mean, heck, we're podcasters. This is kind of what we do all the time.
absolutely.
So, like, imagine being able to come on each week, John, and be like, oh my gosh, this insanely crazy thing happened, and like dedicate a half hour to just storytelling of stuff that happened that it's probably not gonna ever take place for someone else again, just based off of some randomness that happened or something you stumbled on or like just a rare combination of something.
Like I had that same feeling this past week. I was going through Draenor again, and I was working on a stable quest, and I saw the Echoes of Murmur, and I was like, whoa, this has not been here every time I've flown over the same place. So it was on a respawn. I happened to catch on the respawn, but it was still cool to have that experience of, wow, this is something I've been trying to get. We're getting Poseidon and Vestir. I'm still working on that.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like I played, sometimes, and I don't think this is shocking news to anybody. Sometimes it can be hard to come on week to week and have something new about WoW to talk about.
Absolutely.
Especially when the content, is when we're in a spot where we're building towards something, and Ben and I are in a spot where we're like, well, we don't want to spoil ourselves, but we can either look at it and talk about it and have a ton to talk about, or play the game the way we want to play the game and just wait for it to come out. And then we're kind of like, well, what are we going to talk about this week? Well, I don't know. But the reality is I played a ton of WoW this past week. I played a lot. I logged in a ton. But I don't necessarily feel like I have anything to talk about, because what I did in WoW was play a character through zones that everybody has played through dozens and dozens of times, and you're not going to be shocked when I tell you, like, and then in the quest line, this happened. People will be like, I know, it's the same quest line for all of us. Although I will say I was pleasantly surprised at how much I still enjoy Ungoro Crater as a zone.
Yeah.
I don't know what the general consensus is of that zone, but
I liked it originally.
I like it every time I
remember the new bit that I've done, but yeah, it's a fun place.
Hey John, I think we must be twins, because I was actually in the same Ungoro Crater this week. Are you my clone?
I don't know. Were you playing a warlock?
No, I was playing as Rude.
Okay.
It's
slightly different.
Slightly different clone.
Yeah.
I mean, John was running around in bear form somehow, so.
Yeah, I was a bear form warlock, and it is what it is.
Well, I mean, when the magic and you play with stuff, sometimes weird things can happen.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Oh, and Draven Dresden, you're right. I miss Lincoln as well.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't a good quest, but it was a good quest.
Yeah.
That's the best way that I can say it. Like, every time I did that quest, every character I did that quest on. And yeah, it was a lot of going from the top of Azeroth to the bottom of Azeroth. It was a lot of time on Wind Riders. Oh, okay, we got to go from here to here. But at the same time, gosh dang it, I love that quest. It was like a love letter to Nintendo, and it was fun.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, there was a time where that quest was new and exciting, and talking about it, people would have been like, there's a what? There's Nintendo characters? What are we talking about here?
Okay, so I just have to throw this out here because I totally forgot that it was a thing. So I was leveling through Feralis, and I stumbled upon the Rocket Chicken quest, and I totally forgot that was a thing in the game.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh wait, there's 2 more. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I haven't thought about the rocket chicken quests in a long time. Yeah, there used to be a lot of those. But I mean, that's the thing, is like a lot of that stuff. I mean, I don't know. Maybe for newer players, that stuff is new. Maybe people say, Lincoln, what's that quest? And they just don't know.
Too bad, you're not gonna get it.
Look it up. It was an old quest. Lots of Nintendo characters were featured prominently in this quest. But at the same time, a lot of people have now experienced that, and that's not new to talk about anymore. So that's where I think that difference and that, different experiences can be useful. It's also part of why I sometimes get drawn back to a PvP server, because doing quests in Ungoro Crater feels like the same for everybody. And then all of a sudden you go and do it on a PvP server and you get jumped out of nowhere and beaten up 100 times. And now you have a unique story that's unique to you that you can share with the world. But it can't always all be PvP.
No, and that's why I'm glad for the change in 8.0. But interesting thing I was thinking too is it's actually a good thing that they remove quests and items over time. I know it'd be nice to have everybody have all the quests, but hearing some of these stories, it's actually kind of cool that there's like these legends and things that people have done. Like, I love hearing about Wrathleon. I love hearing about things that I can't do anymore and I never did, but it's still cool that people had that experience.
Yeah. I was telling somebody today about the Blood Plague. We were talking just about weird things in video games. I was like, man, weirdest thing ever in WoW, friggin' Blood Plague. And there's a ton of weird stuff like that. The Blood Plague, the times that we used to abduct flight masters from Orgrimmar or Stormwind and hold them for ransom on the forums. Like, there's some crazy freaking stuff that used to happen in this game. And a lot of that stuff has gone away simply because we've kind of balanced the game out. And we were like, yeah, turns out it's not fun if they capture your Wind Rider and you can't fly anywhere for a while. So we're just not going to let that happen anymore. But at the same time, that was pretty cool to have to go onto the server forums and they would say, Alliance has kidnapped your flight master. If you want him back, go to the Goblin auction house and buy this item for X amount of gold. All right. Someone's got to bite that bullet.
Well, and we kind of had that with the pre-patch for Legion. It was cool to have all these zone invasions. It was cool to have like Doomsayers randomly turn into different things. And like there was a fun feel for a little bit of time. Like, I remember being in Dunmurrow and being like, wow, this zone feels so different during the invasion. Mm-hmm. And I was in Tenaris recently. I was like, I remember when there are all these demons all around here. So what if sometimes Blizzard could bring back more and add more events? Because I know that they were working on the tech with the invasions. It'd be cool if they kind of had things happen.
Well, one of the things that, John, you and I have talked about forever ago, and I still think it's a great idea and something that I'd love to see, is the world being a lot more dynamic like that. It's so okay. Coming up, I think it starts on maybe Monday. One of John's favorite things is going to be back in the game, and it's one of mine too. I'm not going to lie, but the dynamic events and everything that they're having seem to be more, associated with micro holidays. Which, yes, Trial of Styles next week, John. Just put on your calendar. Just in case.
I'm excited,
okay.
And sure. As if the Trial of Style itself wasn't fun enough, transmog's free during that time. The way it should be. A totally free experience.
Now, Trial of Style, to make it even cooler, what if we could transmog into holiday items and anniversary items? I'm still upset about the glasses.
Look, we should just be able to transmog into anything we want at any time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Period, hands down.
Yep.
Like, I just spent way too much time in my life going around getting ancestral coins so I can get stupid flower crowns because they're pretty on my characters. Mm-hmm. But now I'm not going to be able to wear them in like another week.
Yep.
Stupid.
If those things were things I could use all the time, I'd probably invest the time in getting them, but they aren't. And we all know how I feel about limited time things. Yes. But I think that if I told you right now, and this happened for those of you who don't remember this event or weren't playing at the time, if I told you right now, hey Ben, don't log in right now, somebody hacked the game, and if you log into the game, all they have to do is look at you and you just die. So the game's basically unplayable right now because they're just hanging out in the major cities just killing everybody. You would do exactly what you did back then, and I did too, and log into the game because that's new and that's exciting and interesting. And even though the ultimate experience is I logged into the game and somebody looked at me and I died and I went, oh, that's weird. It was still new and exciting. Like, it was a cool new experience. And I think everybody would want to do that too. Might get frustrating if you were like legitimately trying to play in that moment, but sometimes just the tiniest things, even weird negative things like that, will get you to go, I'm logging in right now.
Yeah, that's one thing that was amazing about the Matrix Online is they had a storyline, and the game masters were allowed a script. So you would log in, and Morpheus or Neo or Trinity would be walking around. You could talk with them, and there would be different things that would happen. And it was all about progressing the story where they wanted to go. And when I understand that was really cool because like you would be in there and Morpheus needed your help, so you helped him.
Although people don't like talking to Thrall for some reason.
Oh, does Thrall log in?
Sometimes. I don't know. No, something like that would be kind of cool. And the whole idea is that, just again, a more dynamic world where these things can just kind of happen. You know. Make the NPCs worthwhile. Like you said, having, of course, the big head characters and stuff walking around is different. But imagine walking around Dalaran and seeing an NPC walking around, but, kind of mousing over and seeing that they're actually interactable. And then they just kind of send you on some weird, crazy quest that's been randomly put in the game for the day. Or like they have, I don't know, something that you can buy that is never there. That already happens. That's not exciting. Ben, why are you saying that? But I mean, just the idea of, just little things here and there that you can just kind of discover is something that's great. But the downside is that people are going to be upset because, they didn't log in that day or weren't there during that time. So I think that's one of the reasons why Blizzard feels like they have to schedule these things. And even more so, everything's data mined beforehand anyway. So it's kind of a bummer that we're not in a place with that sense of discovery where Blizzard can put these things in just sporadically and randomly throughout everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and one thing that I remember from Vanilla is that sense of there were rumors, there was gossip about doing different things, and you didn't have Wowhead or Thoughtbot. And this is even pre-Thoughtbot. And you had ideas like someone was talking about how they had a Black Panther in the Barrens that they was told it was under this tree, and they were like, I don't believe you, but they after school would go to this tree, and one day the Black Panther was there and their hunter got it. And they said like that was one of those cool stories is they went off of a hunch somebody had told them and did stuff. I did the same thing. I went off of hunches people told me. I had a friend who was working on the Baron's mount, and he would tell me, oh, this boss has a mount that drops. And I was like, I don't believe you. But then you would see people on a mount, like, wait, that comes out of that dungeon?
Mm-hmm.
Do we know too much?
Yeah, I think sometimes the additional knowledge that we have, it definitely changes the game. And that's the problem is like, we can't go back to a time where this information isn't as easily accessible as it is now, between social media and websites that data mine stuff and all of that. But we could, in turn, take advantage of it and use it for good and say, have them design a bunch of items that are just transmog items and put them in the game and nobody knows where they go, and then Blizzard dynamically starts an event that runs for a week. Like, oh, for this week, there's a boss that's forming, and if you kill him, you get these transmog pants. He dies, and somebody tears off their pants, and you got new transmog pants that don't look like anything else. And the way word gets out about that is social media. interacting, word of mouth. Hey, we can go do this. Hey, let's go do a run. Let's go take care of this. I think that you can. I mean, look what happened when they found turkey in the game. Like, that got found. It hit social media. People went crazy. You logged in, and there was like an insane amount of people there trying to get this one pet. And I guarantee you, that's not a group of pet collectors. That's just people that are so excited that there's a new, unexpected thing in the game that they just wanted to log in and take advantage of it. So that to me tells me that you've got a group of players that would be stoked for content like this, where it's like, hey, log in and do something different. Boom, they're there. And the only thing they would have to be careful of is not to break their own servers. But even then, I think they've gotten to a good place where they can avoid stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing with Turkey was like the model and everything, it was in the game for a very long time. And then they just kind of turned it on. And then very shortly after is when it was found. So the idea of them just like, front loading just tons of, models or mounts or whatever and stuff into the game, because, stuff's data mined all the time. But how many things that are data mined that just kind of get forgotten about are still in the code that they can just do something with?
Like, I thought it was cool. One of my favorite ones recently was the Doomsayer robe. I loved finding out about that one because it was like, oh wow, this mob here. So it was fun once I heard about it, and I just kept, and like seeing Wowhead in the comments, people were still forming theories on how it drops.
And when I got it, just two different mobs now?
Yeah, and now we're down to what it is, but it was still fun having this item that wasn't really related to anything, but people finally found out where it dropped.
Yeah. Of course, that toy is going to be a sore spot with me, considering that I did have that actual buff forever ago from Cataclysm. And then I had to do a stupid like demon leap and lost it on my bank.
Well,
I'm still so bummed about that.
And that toy also was supposed to have been a pair of glasses and a mustache. So I'm upset about that too.
Oh, nice.
There's a toy from apparently on Wildhead. That's what the model originally looked like. Now it's a Doomsayer robe. So I would love to be Grouser Marks. Yeah.
Or if we just have more glasses in game that you don't have to be engineers to wear.
Yeah. Because, I mean, see, glasses people represent. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think overall, general consensus is just like, hey, people like to be surprised. People like to feel like it's a world and that anything can happen. And I think with all that added knowledge that we get from sites like Wowhead and even just from social media and people talking, I feel like our belief that anything could happen in the game has kind of gone away. And it's kind of now a known quantity. And so to me, I think Blizzard's biggest challenge, but potentially most exciting new thing that they could bring to WoW, is a way to either take advantage of that or find a way to circumvent that and rebuild some mystery into the World of Warcraft.
I've got an idea. I wonder if they could do the same thing that they did with Legion with hotfixes, because it is kind of cool how they can change the code automatically. What if they could find a way with the streaming technology to bring in models without ever putting the model in the code? It probably take a lot of work, but it would be cool if this model could not be data mined and it was just brought in, kind of it loaded into your cache. So but then you'd probably see it after it loaded into your cache. I just know hotfixes was an amazing change in Legion where they could change the code. And all of a sudden, the class plays differently. Be cool to hotfix in models and different things.
Well, a lot of the data mining comes from like PTR and stuff. So if they test stuff out of the PTR and then just throw it into the, like the Blizzard downloader, I mean, people have probably noticed the file size difference and stuff like that. John, you're way more knowledgeable about the stuff than I am.
I think there's limits on what they can do as a hotfix versus what they can do as what needs to actually be a patch. I think the sneakiest way they could probably get away with it, again, without knowing too much detail, is what they could do is they could probably put a flag on your account, like just a subtle, like, not necessarily even an achievement level, because achievements get data mined as well. And honestly, these little flags probably would get caught too, but they could hide them and they could make them whatever they want, and people could then speculate until the cows come home. And then in a future patch, anyone who has that flag gets a achievement that has a reward attached to it after the fact.
Because that would be cool. Find a way to get around that and just have, and then bring in those surprises and those secrets. Because Skyrim was cool with all the surprises and secrets you could find. Elder Scrolls Online was fun because you would walk around and things would be there.
So they could, in theory, do something along the lines of, let's say word gets out on social media, there's a weird boss spawning in some zone, the Swamp of Sorrows, we'll say. There's a old...
That is a weird zone.
Yeah, that is a weird zone. I just wanted something that was new, and not a lot of people go there. But they're like, there's a new witch that spawns there, and it's crazy, and it's weird, and it's a hard fight, and everybody should come out there and do it. What do you get for it? Doesn't seem to be anything, but it's new and it's weird, and people should probably go and do it. So you do it, and then maybe in a couple weeks, maybe a month, all of a sudden something appears data mined, and people say, oh, if you killed that witch, turns out your account got flagged, and now somebody comes up to you and says, I understand you're the hero that took care of that witch. Just wanted to show my appreciation. Here's this,
Rip my pants.
It's my pants.
It's the same thing with like Disney's doing with their Star Wars land. I believe it was your podcast. Maybe you're talking because you're talking about Star Wars. I think you're talking about Star Wars. And you're talking about Star Wars land, I believe, and how you could do things at the park, and while you're there, they would then flag your magic band and have a bounty hunter coming after you. So John, what you're saying is kind of like the WoW version of having a bounty hunter come after you to give you pants.
To be fair, I'm always okay if the decision is then we send a bounty hunter after them. That's a good solution to any problem. Guys, how are we going to wrap up this Lich King storyline? Well, they defeat the Lich King, and then a bounty hunter goes after him. Perfect. We did it.
Or would you prefer to send the bounty hunter after the Lich King?
Even better. That was one part about the rogue legendary weapon quest that I loved, was that the mission was essentially like, look guys, somebody's got to kill Deathwing, and clearly it's got to be the rogues. Like, you're right, it does need to be the rogues.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd just be nice to have little things like that. Like, so you were talking about witches. The thing that came to mind was like, if you get a certain debuff on you for, the day or something like that, and then years later, it turns out that you were actually hexed by something, and you start actually getting a disease, and then you have a whole quest line to, try and cure yourself or something. I mean, just any other way to get extra content to the game that doesn't involve like the main story is, I don't know. It seems like that's kind of what we want. And don't get me wrong, we love the main story. We love the questing and everything like that. I mean, we've said on the show zillions of times that we always want more story, but making the world feel alive to fit into that main story is something that WoW's lacking, that I think could, really benefit from something like this, if it's even possible to do.
Yeah.
Well, and I've always thought, why don't we have some of this, like either the day schedules or week schedules? Skyrim, you would go, it was either Skyrim, no, Oblivion. I remember Oblivion's big thing was you would go to a city, and depending on what time of the day it is, the NPCs would either be sleeping or they'd be awake. And wow, wouldn't it be kind of cool if you went somewhere and the NPCs weren't there? I mean, you kind of have it now with the NPC that goes around with the shoe shining and the light, but it would still be cool to go to a city and it's night, but if you also only play at night, you would never be able to see some NPCs.
Okay, I know we're wrapping up, but can I just point out a weird conspiracy theory I have? And I'm sure this is something people can go and disprove almost immediately, but
No, John, you're wrong. There, done.
I've noticed a weird thing in Dalaran. You know how they have the NPCs that just walk around Dalaran?
Mm-hmm.
I have noticed that if I'm standing, they will walk around me.
I have noticed that.
And
yeah,
I don't know if it's programmed or if I just coincidentally always happen to be in the place where they decide to walk around. Now, they have clipped through me before. I'm not saying it's impossible for them to clip through you, but I feel like most of the time, if nobody else is around me and I'm just standing there in the middle of the street in Dalaran and here comes Lurky Doo, he comes by and like gets up to my character and then diverts around and walks around me, and it's like, was that programmed into the game, or is this just a weird coincidence and I'm reading too much into it? And I don't know, and everybody should go test it and see if it's real, because I think they know to avoid me.
Well, I will tell you, the thing that always happens with me is I always see duplicates of those NPCs. Like, one of them is walking into the bank as another one is walking out.
Oh, and Pat Crane is telling me I'm not crazy. This is a real thing.
Oh, man.
And that is put in the end of Warlords of Draenor. That's cool. I like that. But yes, I need more stuff like it.
I would like it if the NPCs couldn't see me as a gnome and they just like stumbled over me or like
just tripped.
Yeah. Oof, what was that?
Oh, sorry about that. Here, have some pants. Rip.
All right. Well, cool. There's my answer. Yes, they are avoiding me. So now, instead of going and testing it to see if I'm crazy or not, now just go look at it yourself. I think that's a cool thing.
Well, what it really is actually, under the hood, everybody has a specific smell rating, and they'll walk through you if you smell just fine. If they like get a really bad rank whiff, they just walk around you.
Yeah,
they don't have anything to do with that.
All the poo quests, so
I mean, you live in the sewer, John.
There are 0 shower quests.
And I probably should not be eating those sriracha pickles.
No.
Yeah. Anyways, hey, Frazley, thank you very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you. It's been awesome, and it's always fun talking about WoW with people and hearing people that you hear in your headphones. Like when I hear you talk about Star Wars, it's weird to hear you say my name. Just say, no, I am your father.
I can't say that.
Oh.
No, but I am your father.
Oh, hey, awesome, John.
Yeah.
Hi, Dad. That's why I can't say that.
I know, it's a surprise. Surprise.
I always thought it was Pat Crane, but now I know it's John.
Yeah, bad news. This is the last time I acknowledge it. So
okay.
I'm a real...
Good news, it'll be recorded.
Yeah, so you can go back and listen to it over and over again whenever you're like, I need warm, fuzzy feelings, because that's the end of it.
Oh, Dad.
Yeah. I will favorite it in my podcast player.
Yeah. It's the end. That was the moment.
So, Frazley, until next time, where can people find you?
Either on Twitter at Frazleytastic, or also on the weekly podcast Frazlecast. I bring different people on. We tangent a lot more than the roundtable does. So we discuss WoW, but we go all over the board. We talked about 50 Shades one episode.
Wow.
50 Shades of what?
50 Shades of WoW would be an exciting expansion.
It's all about Goldshire.
Oh, yeah. I've done it. Never mind.
Goldshire,
already played that expansion. Old news.
Yeah, wearing leather and stuff like that.
Oh, I wasn't wearing leather.
Rip.
I wasn't wearing cloth either.
So, John, where can people find you?
Well, when I'm not hanging out in inns, literally.
Out in inns.
You can. That wasn't the euphemism I was going for, but
I cleaned it up, dude.
All right. Hey, if you want to find more of me, follow me on Twitter at John_Jagger. If you say, hey, that is a person I want to hear talk about something that's not WoW and talk about Heroes of the Storm, well, you can do that. Catch me on Core, which is part of the Frog Pants Network. You can find out more information about that at heroesforyou.com. But that's not all, because tomorrow is my favorite day, because it's the
Thanks.
day I get to play
Thanks,
Dungeons
John.
and Dragons. Look, Ben, I like hanging out with you, but you'll see.
It's just not your favorite.
You'll see. You'll learn.
I'm sure I will someday.
You'll learn. And anyway, there will be Dungeons on Saturday. You can find out more about that show. It's a D&D podcast. And it's a good time. You should check it out. I am a politician, which is a bard, as it turns out. And my name's Stanley Billings.
Yes, you sing with words.
Oh, I got to write a speech tonight.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm
I got
excited.
a big speech I got to write. Anyway, it's exciting. There will be dungeons.com. That's where you can find out about that. Ben?
Yes, John.
Ben of Bumhofferton.
Yes, Jaggerton.
Where can people find you? What?
The best place to find me is on Twitter. I'm at Ben the Mage. I do another show with Aludra called Battle Pets, where we talk about battle pets in the World of Warcraft. Also, I haven't been streaming lately because sickness and whatnot, but I plan on getting back to it. So do me a favor, give me a follow on twitch.tv/Ben Bumhoffer. It's kind of like, spelled how it sounds and stuff.
Not Bumhofferton.
No.
That was just a little fun Ben and I were having just now.
Yes. Just the emphasis on little fun. This show, though, Azeroth Roundtable, you can find us on Twitter. We are at AzerothRT. If you have any questions, comments, want to tell us about your D&D experience, because believe it or not, we enjoy that, or you have pictures of Laura Croft in Chipotle, whatever, send those to AzerothRoundtable@gmail.com. I shouldn't request pictures. I just realized
Photoshops there.
Yeah, no kidding. If you want to listen to other episodes that aren't this one, you can always find those on AzerothRoundtable.com. Azeroth? That sounds weird. AzerothRoundtable.com. Also on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and probably everywhere, where podcasts are found and stuff. Also, just really quickly, let me find it really quick. Let me see how you signed it. Simple hiccup. You did send us an email that I do plan on responding to because you had a couple questions. So don't worry, we didn't forget about you. But thanks for sending that in.
I didn't see the email, so I did. Well, I didn't forget about you. I never saw it because Ben didn't tell me about it.
It's on the show email, which I know you have access to.
In theory, I have it. But
okay,
I don't think my email is pulling up show emails because I haven't seen it.
Apparently. But anyways, so, check out all our other episodes. Leave us, 5-star reviews on iTunes, which at some point, we'll take some time and thank all those people who've done that because we've gotten some really nice words there. So we appreciate that.
The best words.
Yes.
Hey, everybody, if you just listened to this show and said, hot dang, I want to give those guys money. Well,
hot dang, I want to give those guys money.
Well, good news for you, sir, I just met. You can do that. We've made it possible by going to patreon.com/AzerothRT. And if you go there, you can become a patron. There are many, and you could be one of them. But we also want to give a special shout out to what we call the Murloc Club, just because they go a little above and beyond with their donations, and we appreciate it. And we want to send a little special thank you their way. So thank you to the Murloc Club, Kryn, Haster, Mimi H, and Alicia A, Aaron, and Simon. A big Murloc thank you to you. Oh, that's very nice. Oh, look at that.
Double the Murloc this week.
Bonus Murloc.
Yeah.
So thank you for being patrons, and we appreciate it. And that's patreon.com/AzerothRT.
Yep, with that, everybody, thank you very much for joining us on Azeroth Roundtable this week. Frazley, thank you again for joining us. It's a pleasure having you on the show. And John, I guess I'll talk to you next week or something?
Probably.
All right.
That's how it has worked so far, unless you want to really change things up.
A daily podcast.
Really?
Hey, if I had the time and money, yes. But in the meantime, everybody, be good to each other and have a good one. And that's an episode.
Hey,
nice.
We did it. I'm looking for this email.
You know what? why don't we answer the questions right now? Give me a second just to save this.
Well,
Actually, let's add to it.
How will they hear it then?
I'm just going to tack it on to the end of the podcast.
Oh.
I hit record again, John.
Okay, I'm still recording. So.
Okay. Well, I know. But, I do things differently than you. So Simple Hiccup sent an email in and said, our family is a huge fan of the show. Would you answer some of our questions on a future episode, please?
Yes, we're going to answer them on this episode.
Dun, dun, dun. So, John, we got 3 questions here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. I believe the first word on this first question is misspelled, so I'm going to go with it. So, John, bring WoW... I think it's supposed to be being, so I'm going to say being. Being WoW celebrities, how often do strangers whisper you in-game to talk to you about the show? Do you just roll with it, or do you find it to be a drag?
Okay.
Which is actually funny, because we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier.
We did talk about this a little earlier. One, I don't think I'm a WoW celebrity. But in a world where I'm going to pretend like I am, here's the reality. Not many people seem to know what my characters' names are or my gamer tag is or any of that. So I very rarely get recognized in game. Most people who know me usually already know me in a way where it's not going to be any big deal to them. So Ben is the most excited anybody has been seeing me in the game recently, and that was just because
I was so excited.
That was just because he was on his monk. So
seriously, John, I was so freaking excited to see you.
He did. He just ran up. He's waving. I was AFK, eating something, and I turned around. I was like, someone's looking at me. It doesn't happen very much, mostly because people don't recognize my name. The story I told Ben earlier is that on Core, we call Bo Gorath a lot. He kind of goes by both names a bunch of times, so when he's in the game as Gorath, people recognize him a lot. Everybody seems to know that Scott's name is Gerp everywhere. He's talked about it enough. People just kind of know. But I don't ever really talk about what my name is, so unless you've caught me streaming or just happen to know that's me, most people don't know my name. So what will happen is the 3 of us will be playing Heroes together, and people will go, Scott and Bo, I can't believe I'm playing with you guys. This is so cool. I love Core. And they don't even realize I'm there. Usually somebody has to say, John's here too, and they'll go, is he?
Who?
Yeah. So it's just a case of I've been going by just my name basically since I started doing podcasting, and so nobody recognizes anything I'm on.
Me, I do get tells occasionally. It's always really nice when we get it, because they usually say how much they like the show or shows, and it's nice. It's nice. It doesn't happen a ton. I think same reason. I don't really, go on record all the time about who my character is. It's not like it's a secret or anything, but yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd probably get recognized more in Heroes, because wouldn't your name be Ben the Mage?
Yep. Oh, I got recognized in Overwatch once.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I was just randomly playing Overwatch with Nevermore, and then all of a sudden someone's like, yay, Ben the Mage, Battle Pets. I'm like, woohoo.
I did briefly change my battle tag to John and had my name as my battle tag. But then I was playing Overwatch at the time, and there was a lot of has killed John Jagger, has killed John Jagger. And I was like, oh, this got dark. And I don't think Blizzard customer service appreciated it, because they were like, you get one change. And I wrote back to him right after I did the free change, and I was like, can I change it back? And I was like, I don't really have a good reason, except that seeing that my name has died is kind of bumming me out. And they were like, okay, don't change
Don't
it
do
again. Yeah, it was basically what I got.
Okay, just question number 2. How many characters have you both leveled to date from level 1, approximately?
Oh, gosh.
John, I believe your answer is infinity.
Yep.
And then you deleted it and then created another one.
Infinity times 2.
Of the 11 or 12 characters I have or so, I would say probably 4, maybe. Because I've had boosts in some way. Well, okay. Do you count the Legion pre-event as leveling from 1?
Sure.
Okay, well
I mean,
then if
it's
so,
not saying to max level necessarily. I feel like it's just like,
yeah.
hey, what have you leveled?
Well, at the time it was max. So, well, I guess if you include those, all but 3 of my characters have been leveled from 1. Because I got, oh no, no, because the last boost that I got, I put on my Alliance Mage to get her up to 110. So yeah, 3. Because I got the refer a friend or the comeback one or whatever, and then the 2 boosts from the 2 previous expansions.
I guess so I can give something of an answer because I can't actually give an answer because it's too many. I just will say this, like, to give you an idea of how I work sometimes. Vanilla WoW, I was an undead rogue, got to level 60. Burning Crusade came out. I took that rogue up to level 70. Immediately made a Blood Elf rogue, leveled that up to level 70, and that was character 1 and 2 from just vanilla. And then a very similar thing in Mists of Pandaria where I just immediately like leveled a monk and also got my rogue to max level at the same time. So it's a lot. My restore a character list is as long as my current character list.
I would say it's probably longer at this point.
It probably is. I mean, I feel bad for the officers in AIE because my character list is a mess.
Really? The officers?
Ben, because he's an officer and he's who I asked to do all my invites.
Yeah, it's nice when you know someone on the inside. Okay, last question. And Frazley, I'm sorry that we're like, totally stealing this time, but really quick. Okay, what do you anticipate being your main tune going into and throughout battle for Azeroth?
My rogue.
My monk.
Told you were a monk.
It's not because of that. It's just we need healers, and I like playing a healing monk.
You were always a monk, Ben. No. You were always a monk. It was you, Fredo.
It was you, Frodo. Entirely different version of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, the Godfather of the Rings. All right, well, great. I like answering questions. I'm all about it. So those were the questions we answered, and somebody sent us more questions because they're fun.
Yep, and that's the end of part 1 of question, or part 2 of the show, or whatever. Bye, everybody.
Hey, we're back. Hey, we're gone. Oh.
And that's where I stop the episode again. There you go. Say Project S.
Project Corrupted.
Oh, we have to record the entire show again.
Hey, I can do that.
Hey, John, around 9 minutes and 40 seconds, don't say fuck.
But it's so much more fun when you have to edit.
I know, but I'm at the point now where I just mark it down so it's a lot easier. That's why I said 9 minutes and 40 seconds, because I looked at my time. That was right there. I'm like, it's about 9:40. So in my little template that I have for like the title and everything, it says 9:40. Fuck.
I'm glad we don't have to edit the YouTube video because
me
it's
too.
all going in it.
You guys want a sneak peek of what the episode title is?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have mighty pants.
Sweet. Mighty Pants. All right. Well, that's going to be a show. Thank you, chat
Wicked
room.
Kitten 13.
And also say Zephyriah.
Zephyriah.
Sorry, I
didn't.
didn't.
For both of them.
Hey, just because you said it is the only reason I knew how to say it. Because I would have said Zephyra.
I made that same mistake the first time.
Wait a minute. It's Zephyriah?
Yeah.
Zephyriah. Hold on. We need to have a talk about this because Zephyriah. There is no word. There's no way.
There should be another I in there.
Is it really Zephyriah?
Or is she just trolling us?
Because I personally I like Zephyra better. I think I like the sound of that.
Zephyra is how it's spelled.
Yeah, it's okay. Whatever. You know what? I'm gonna start going by. I don't know. Yeah, just Zeph.
Look, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm like, hey, Your names are your names. It's fine, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand how we arrived at the pronunciation I'm hearing.
I had a dwarf priest in vanilla that was spelled Braden, but I used to always say it was Broaden.
Hmm.
Reminds me of the Brandon in Smithsonian. It's
Brig.
Brandon.
Brig.
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 This is my orc. His name's Brig. I deleted that character, but he has a daughter. Her name's Brega.
Brig.
So there
What
you
was
go.
the other orc name that you had that was just really cool? It was
Thrundar.
Thrundar. Yeah, that's right.
Thrundar was a pretty good character name.
I like Thrundar. Thrundar. I can't even say it. Thrundar.
Thrundar.
Thrundar, fall before the might of Thrundar.
Yeah.
I've got a druid that's named Thunder, and I just love saying it.
Are you a Thundercat then?
No,
when
I'm
you're in
a
cat form?
moonkin.
Well, I don't mean to one-up you, but I was the lightning before the thunder.
Oh.
So then I can say that I've got moves like Jagger.
Good night, everybody.